He was a billionaire CEO without a voice until he met the waitress, who would change everything. Before the story begins, tell us in the comments which city you are watching from. And at the end, do not forget to rate this story from 0 to 10. Enjoy the story. The door of Riverside Bistro flew open with such force that it hit the wall. Haley Brooks crossed the dining room like a loosely tied storm, her brown hair coming undone from the bun, her backpack hitting her hip, her sneakers squeaking against the marble floor. "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry," she shouted to no one in particular, dodging a customer who almost got an elbow to the face. The clock on the wall read 7:47. Her shift started at 7:30, 17 minutes late. Again. Haley pushed through the swinging kitchen door, as if escaping a fire, grabbed the apron hanging on the hook, tied it around her waist, and stretched her hand out to pick up the tray waiting on the counter. 3 large coffees. Steaming. Black. Perfect. "Table 12, the cook shouted without looking at her. Haley held the tray with both hands, turned on her heels, and walked out of the kitchen with her breathing still unsteady. She was almost making it. Almost. Until her sneaker caught on the hem of her own pants. Everything happened in slow motion and full speed at the same time. Her left foot stopped. Her body kept moving. The tray left her hands as if it had come alive. The 3 cups flew in a perfect triangular formation, like darts of hot coffee cutting through the air. And they hit, with surgical precision, the chest of a man wearing a dark gray suit. The black liquid spread across the expensive fabric like ink on absorbent paper. Steam rose. Coffee dripped. The silence that followed was so heavy it felt like it had weight. Haley froze, hands still suspended in the air, mouth open, eyes wide. The man turned slowly, tall, broad shoulders, strong jaw, gray eyes that did not blink, and a completely neutral expression, as if taking 3 hot coffees to the chest was just another item on his daily schedule. He did not shout, he did not complain, he did nothing. He just looked at her. Haley felt the floor disappear under her feet. I, she began, but the words died in her throat. The man looked down at his soaked chest. Coffee dripped from his tie. The suit was ruined. Completely. Irreversibly. Ruined. And then he did something completely unexpected. He picked up a tablet sitting on the table beside him, typed something quickly, and turned the screen toward her. "I cannot speak." Haley blinked. Once, twice, read it again. "What?" she whispered. The man typed something else. "Surgery, no voice, temporary." "Oh." Haley swallowed. "Right, I mean, that is very unlucky for you, isn't it?" He raised an eyebrow. Haley realized what she had just said and felt her face burn. "No, I didn't mean that you without a voice is unlucky. I meant the hot coffee. I mean, that wasn't lucky either, but it wasn't on purpose. I tripped, on my own foot, which is, well, very typical actually." She was talking too fast and too loud and completely out of control. The man kept looking at her, calm, impossible to read, like a very expensive but very wet statue. "Look, I will clean this." Haley finally moved, grabbing napkins from a nearby table and stepping toward him. "Let me just..." She started rubbing the napkin on his chest and realized, too late, that she was literally rubbing the chest of a complete stranger. Haley froze, her hands still pressed against the wet fabric, her face 15 centimeters from his. The man's gray eyes lowered to her hands, then came back to her face. Haley stepped back 3 times as if she had been shocked. "I'm sorry," she practically shouted. I was trying to help." The man typed something new on the tablet, slowly, deliberately. "Who are you?" "Haley." The answer came out automatically. "Haley Brooks, waitress." "Obviously. And you are?" Before he could answer, the manager's voice echoed through the restaurant like thunder. "Haley." She turned her head so fast she almost twisted her neck. The manager, a short, sweaty man named Frank, was standing in the kitchen doorway with an expression somewhere between shock and complete fury. You just..." Frank pointed at the soaked man. "Do you know who this man is?" Haley looked at the stranger, looked at Frank, looked back at the stranger. "A man without a voice?" Frank looked like he was about to have a heart attack. "That is Liam Carter," he practically spit out. "CEO of Carter Tech, owner of half this city, and you just threw hot coffee on him." Haley's world stopped turning. No. She looked at the man, Liam Carter, apparently, and for the first time, she saw the full reality of the situation. The Patek Philippe watch on his wrist, the custom-made Oxford shoes, the straight posture of someone who was used to commanding entire rooms without saying a word. And she had just turned his suit into a coffee sponge. Oh, Haley felt the blood drain from her face. Oh no. Liam typed something new. But before he could show it, the tablet beeped loudly, a sharp, irritating sound, and the screen flickered. A voice came out of the speaker. But it was not a normal voice. It was a childish voice, high, almost like a cartoon. Do not worry, accidents happen. The entire restaurant went silent. Haley looked at the tablet, looked at Liam, looked at the tablet again, and then, unable to control herself, she said the only thing her mind could produce. Really? That is the voice the app chose? Now? Right now? Liam closed his eyes, slowly, as if asking the universe for strength, and Haley realized with absolute certainty that she had just ruined not only a $3,000 suit, but also any chance of keeping her job. Haley woke up with the absolute certainty that she was unemployed. It was not a vague feeling or a distant worry. It was pure, crystal-clear knowledge, the kind that settles in your chest and refuses to leave. She had spilled hot coffee on the billionaire CEO of Carter Tech. She had rubbed his chest with napkins. She had made a joke about the cartoon voice on the app. She was, obviously, completely unemployed. She stared at the ceiling of the tiny room inside. Well, it was good while it lasted, she told the damp stain in the left corner. The stain did not answer, but Haley was sure that if it could, it would say something like, I warned you to wake up earlier. Her phone vibrated on the nightstand. Come to the restaurant. Now. Urgent. Haley sat up in a jump, her heart racing. That was it. The official dismissal. She would probably have to sign documents, maybe even pay for the suit. A suit that certainly cost more than 3 months of her rent. Great, she murmured, looking for clean pants on the floor. I am going to be fired and in debt. What a wonderful day. The jeans she found had a tomato sauce stain on the left thigh, but it was that or the leggings with the hole in the knee. She chose the stain. 20 minutes later, Haley pushed the door of Riverside Bistro expecting to find Frank with a cardboard box and a funeral expression. What she found was something much, much worse. Liam Carter was sitting at one of the corner tables, in a suit, again, this one navy blue and clearly untouched. Not a single drop of coffee. The tablet rested on the table next to a cup of tea he was not drinking, and he was looking directly at her. Haley froze at the entrance like a deer in front of a truck. Frank appeared out of nowhere, sweating more than usual, which was an impressive feat. Haley. He practically ran to her and pulled her aside, his voice low and desperate. What did you do? I spilled coffee on him? Haley answered, still looking at Liam, who remained still like a very well-dressed statue. I know that, Frank hissed. But what else did you do? Why did he come back? Why is he asking to talk to you? Haley's brain stalled. What? Frank pushed her toward the table. Go. Talk to him. And for everything that is sacred, do not spill anything on him this time. Haley crossed the empty dining room with shaky legs. Each step felt like it weighed 10 pounds. When she finally reached the table, Liam lifted his eyes. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then he picked up the tablet, typed something, and turned the screen toward her. Sit. It was not a request. It was an instruction. Haley sat down. Liam typed again. The letters appeared one by one, slow and deliberate. I need a temporary assistant. Haley blinked. You need an assistant. He nodded. And you are offering the job to me. Another nod. After I ruined your suit and made fun of your app and practically attacked you with napkins. Liam paused, considered, typed, exactly because of that. Haley waited for him to explain. He did not. Right, she said slowly. You will need to explain that better, because none of this makes any sense. His fingers moved quickly across the tablet. I need someone who is not afraid of me. You clearly are not. Oh, I am, Haley corrected quickly. I am very afraid. I am just terrible at showing it. Even better. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Is this serious? Are you really offering me 3 months, until my voice returns? And what exactly would I have to do? Liam started typing a list. A long list. A very long list. Haley read out loud as the words appeared. Manage schedule, answer calls, translate meetings, organize files, reply to emails. She stopped and looked at him. Wait, translate meetings? What does that mean? He pointed at his own tablet, then at her. It clicked. You want me to be your voice? Haley asked, astonished. When necessary, yes. But I don't know anything about technology or business. I'm a waitress and a design student, and my classes are on hold because I can't afford them. Liam stopped typing. He looked at her with an expression that was almost analytical. How much do you make here? Haley hesitated. Why? I will triple it. The world stopped. Triple. Haley did the math in her head. Fast, desperate. 3 times her salary meant rent paid, tuition paid, maybe even some money left for food that was not instant noodles. You're serious, she said, more to herself than to him. Completely. But why? Why me? Liam typed slowly. Because you didn't pretend everything was fine. You didn't freeze. You reacted. That is rare. Haley felt something strange in her chest, something warm and uncomfortable that she couldn't identify at first. Then she understood it was hope. I accept, she said before she could rethink it. Liam nodded. Once? Certain. Good. Start tomorrow. 8 a.m. Carter Tech headquarters. He stood up, picked up the tablet and the untouched cup of tea, and started to leave. Haley stayed seated, trying to process what had just happened. Then something hit her. Wait, she yelled. Liam stopped and turned. I don't have office clothes. He looked at her. From head to toe, thinking. Then he typed something and showed the screen before walking out the door. I noticed that. The next day, Haley arrived at Carter Tech headquarters at 7:53 in the morning, which was a personal miracle. The building was everything she imagined it would be. Glass, steel, marble, and people in suits walking too fast and speaking too quietly on expensive phones. She was wearing the only thing in her closet that remotely looked professional. A white blouse with a missing button, which she had closed with a safety pin, and a black skirt that was too tight because it had shrunk in the wash. The receptionist looked at her as if she were an invasive species. May I help you? The woman had a smile that did not reach her eyes. I'm here to work, Haley said, sounding much less confident than she hoped. For Mr. Carter, Liam Carter, CEO. I'm the new assist. 20th floor, the receptionist interrupted, already looking away. Elevator to the right. Haley stepped into the elevator, pressed the button for the 20th floor, and looked at her reflection in the mirror. Okay, she told herself. You can do this. Just don't drop anything. Don't trip on anything. Don't say anything inappropriate. The elevator agreed with a soft ding. The doors opened directly into a panoramic office with a view of the entire city of Chicago. Floor-to-ceiling glass, a huge dark wood desk, and Liam Carter standing beside the desk looking at her. He motioned for her to come in. Haley took 3 steps and tripped on the rug. It was not a gentle stumble. It was an epic one, the kind that involved arms flailing, body ting, and an involuntary sound that was half scream, half groan. She managed to catch herself at the last second, grabbing the corner of the desk that had an expensive pen sitting on it. The pen that rolled right to the edge, and fell into his cup of coffee. The coffee splashed upward, in slow motion, perfectly, and hit, once again, Liam Carter's suit. Haley froze, hands still gripping the desk, eyes wide. Liam looked at his chest, then at her. He picked up the tablet. You have an impressive talent for this. Haley started, but she had no defense. None. I promise I don't do this on purpose. He typed again. I know. That is even worse. And then, for the first time, Haley saw something impossible. Liam Carter almost smiled. Haley had exactly 47 minutes of experience as an executive assistant when Liam pulled her into the conference room. 47 minutes. Enough time to learn where the coffee machine was, 2nd floor, how to use the phone system, impossible, and that her name had already become an internal joke among security. Apparently, spilling coffee on CEOs twice in 2 days was some kind of record. But it was not enough time to prepare for what was about to happen. Wait, Haley said, planting her feet on the floor while Liam tried to guide her down the hallway. You can't just throw me into a meeting. I don't know anything. I barely know where the restroom is. Liam stopped, turned, and typed on the tablet with irritating speed. You will be my voice. Simple. Simple? Haley repeated, almost laughing. You think being the voice of a billionaire CEO in a meeting with... She peeked through the glass door and saw at least 12 executives in suits. With an army of important people, is simple? Yes. You have serious problems with reality, she muttered. Liam completely ignored the comment and pushed the door open. 12 pairs of eyes turned to them immediately. The room was intimidating in the way only corporate rooms can be. A huge glass table, leather chairs that probably cost more than a car, and a tension in the air so heavy it could be cut with a knife. Liam walked to the head of the table as if he owned the place, which technically he did. Haley followed like a lost duckling, trying not to trip over her own feet. He pointed to the chair beside him. Haley sat, slowly, carefully, without knocking anything over. Small victories. A man in a gray suit and red tie on the other side of the table cleared his throat. "Mr. Carter, thank you for meeting with us. I know your current situation," he paused strategically, "is delicate." The way he said delicate made it clear he really meant pathetic. Liam stayed expressionless and started typing on the tablet. The voice app beeped and played a voice with a strong Australian accent. "G'day, mates. Shall we get started?" The whole room froze. Haley closed her eyes, slowly, screaming internally. "No, no, no, no." Liam looked at the tablet with an expression that could melt metal. He pressed a few buttons, typed commands, gave the device a small shake. Nothing changed. The app had decided, at that exact moment, that the only available voice was an overly excited Australian surfer. Red Tie raised an eyebrow. "Is this serious?" Liam typed something new. The Australian voice answered with alarming enthusiasm. "Of course it's serious, mate. Let's talk business." Someone on the other side of the table let out a muffled laugh. Haley saw Liam's face turn red. Not much, just enough to show he was 3 seconds away from exploding inside. She looked at him. He looked at her. And then, without warning, he typed, "You will have to speak for me." "What?" Haley whispered, panic rising in her throat. "I can't." He turned the tablet so only she could see, now. Haley swallowed hard. She looked at the table full of serious executives who clearly thought this was a very bad joke. She looked back at Liam, who was staring at her with a confidence she definitely did not deserve. And she thought, well, if I'm going to get fired, I might as well do it with style. She cleared her throat and stood. "All right," she began, her voice steadier than she expected. "Let's start over. Mr. Carter would like to thank everyone for coming today to discuss the proposed merger between Carter Tech and," she glanced quickly at the papers in front of Liam, "Novatech Solutions." The man with the red tie leaned forward, wearing a condescending smile. "And you are?" "Haley Brooks," she answered, "Mr. Carter's temporary assistant." "Temporary," he repeated, savoring the word. "I see. Well, Miss Brooks, perhaps we should reschedule this meeting for when Mr. Carter is better prepared." It was the way he said, "better prepared," that lit something inside Haley, something warm and a little reckless. "Mr. Carter is perfectly prepared," she replied, her voice sharper now. "He just can't speak, but I assure you he has plenty to say." Liam typed quickly and pushed the tablet toward her. Haley read the screen and almost choked. He had written an entire paragraph. Technical, full of terms she barely understood, but she had to try. "Mr. Carter wants to make it clear that the proposed merger would benefit both companies by integrating our cloud infrastructure." She stumbled on the word, "with Novatech's predictive analysis system." She had no idea what half of that meant, but said it with confidence. Red Tie didn't look impressed. "Miss Brooks, with all due respect, we came here to speak with the CEO, not with an improvised spokesperson." "And you are speaking with him," Haley shot back. "Just through me. This is not professional." "You know what is not professional?" Haley felt her voice rise. "Coming here expecting a person with a temporary limitation to simply give up leading his own company. He didn't lose the ability to think, only to speak. And honestly, considering how many people speak without thinking, I would say he is at an advantage." Complete silence. Haley realized, too late, that she had just scolded a senior executive of a multi-million-dollar company. In front of a room full of witnesses, on her first day of work. She looked at Liam, expecting to see anger, disappointment, or that neutral expression he used when he wanted to burn someone down internally. Instead, he was looking at her with something that seemed almost pride. He typed, showed the tablet, "Continue." And then the second disaster happened. The tablet beeped loudly, so loudly that everyone in the room jumped, and the screen turned blue. Completely blue, with a message flashing in the center, "Critical error, restarting system." The voice app had crashed. Liam pressed buttons. Nothing. Red Tie stood up. Well, that was, he searched for the right word, informative. Maybe we should reschedule when Mr. Carter has functioning tools. He started gathering his papers. The other executives followed his lead. Haley saw the meeting falling apart. She saw Liam stiffen in his chair. She saw everything he had tried to build slipping through his fingers, and she made a completely insane decision. Or, she said loudly, making everyone stop, I can continue. Red Tie laughed. He actually laughed. You, a waitress who became an assistant this morning, is going to run a corporate meeting? Why not? Haley crossed her arms. You came here to hear the proposal. The proposal didn't change just because the tool broke. And how do you plan to present it? Are you reading his mind? Haley looked at Liam. He was staring at her with an intensity that should be illegal. Then he did something unexpected. He grabbed a pen, scribbled something on a piece of paper, pushed it toward her. It was 3 words. Trust yourself. Haley took a deep breath. All right, she said, turning her attention back to the table. Let's do this the old-fashioned way. You ask questions, Mr. Carter writes. I read. Simple. This will take hours, someone muttered. Then you should cancel lunch, Haley replied. And against all odds it worked. For the next 2 hours, Haley read scribbles, interpreted gestures, and translated looks. Liam wrote frantically. She read out loud. They created a chaotic but functional rhythm. When Red Tie finally walked out of the room 2 hours later, he was not happy, but he had signed the preliminary agreement. The door closed. The room grew quiet. Haley collapsed into a chair, completely exhausted. If you ask me to do that again, she said to the ceiling, I quit. Liam wrote something and placed the paper in front of her. You were amazing. Haley looked at the words, then looked at him, and realized with absolute clarity that no one in that room, except Liam, had taken her seriously. Not for a single second. The smile she forced didn't even reach her eyes. Thank you, she said softly, but inside, something hurt. It was 10:43 at night when Haley realized she had spent 14 straight hours in Liam Carter's office. 14 hours. No real lunch break. A packet of cookies stolen from the break room did not count. No fresh air, corporate air conditioning did not count. No moment of mental sanity. Talking to the printer definitely did not count. She was sitting on the floor of the panoramic office, because the expensive leather chairs had started sticking to her back, surrounded by piles of documents that needed to be organized before tomorrow's meeting. Tomorrow. Which technically was already today, because midnight was dangerously close. You know, Haley said to the file folder in her left hand, I thought working for a billionaire would be more glamorous, like champagne and meetings in penthouses. Not. She gestured vaguely at the chaos around her. This. The folder didn't answer, but she was sure it would agree if it could. Across the room, Liam was leaning over the desk, typing something on his laptop with the same focused expression he had used all day. He had taken off his jacket hours ago. His tie was thrown over a chair. The sleeves of his white shirt were rolled up to his elbows, and he looked completely comfortable working until his body gave up. Haley, on the other hand, looked like a used rag. You know what I don't understand? She continued, now talking directly to the stapler on the table beside her. How someone can work this much without exploding. I've been here one day, and I already want to yell at something. Probably that printer. It gave me a strange look today. The stapler, wisely, said nothing. Liam lifted his gaze, raised an eyebrow. Haley shrugged. I talked to myself. It's a personality trait. Accept it or fire me. He picked up the tablet, which had started working again after the disaster in the meeting, but now only had a generic robot voice, and typed, I think it is interesting. Interesting is a polite way of saying concerning, Haley replied. Maybe. She laughed, a short, tired laugh that echoed in the empty office. Liam went back to typing on the laptop. Haley went back to organizing files. The silence that settled in was not uncomfortable. It was strange, but not bad. Like that moment between sleeping and waking when everything feels slightly unreal, but you do not mind. Can I ask you a question? Haley said suddenly. Liam stopped typing. Looked at her. She dropped the folder on the floor and crossed her legs, turning completely toward him. Why did you lose your voice? I mean, I know it was surgery, but why? Does this happen to everyone who has surgery on their vocal cords? For a long moment, Liam did not move. Then, slowly, He picked up the tablet. No, it should not have happened. Haley waited, feeling there was more. He continued typing. I needed a simple procedure. Polyps on my vocal cords. Quick, routine, but there were complications. The surgeon made a mistake. Mistake? Haley repeated, feeling her stomach twist. What do you mean, mistake? Damaged the nerves. Temporarily, they said, but they are not sure when it will return, or if it will. The weight of those words fell between them like a stone in a lake. Wait, Haley stood, moving closer to the desk. You mean you might never speak again? Like never ever? Liam shrugged, as if he were talking about the weather. But Haley saw how his shoulders tensed, the way he avoided looking directly at her. When did that happen? She asked softly. 3 weeks before the biggest merger of my career. Haley sat on the edge of the desk, processing. So you lost your voice right when you needed it the most? Yes. And you decided to keep going anyway. I did not have a choice. Everyone has a choice, Haley said. You could have postponed, you could have passed it on to someone else. Liam typed faster now. And show weakness? Let competitors think I cannot lead? Give away everything I built? That is not weakness, Haley replied. It is being human. He stopped typing, looked at her with an intensity that made something tighten inside her chest. In my world, being human is weakness. The silence that followed was different, heavier, loaded. Haley broke the silence the way she always did, with poorly timed humor. Okay, but when your voice comes back, what do you think it will sound like? Because I have theories. Liam blinked, confused. Haley stood and began pacing, animated. It could be deep and serious, like Morgan Freeman narrating his own life. She lowered her voice dramatically. Liam Carter knew that meeting would change everything. Liam covered his mouth with his hand. His shoulders shook. He was laughing, without sound, but definitely laughing. Haley kept going, now fully committed. Or it could be high and nervous, like those men who talk too fast in commercials. She sped up her voice. Buy the Carter Tech Solutions right now with 3-for-1 discounts. Liam hit his hand on the desk, still laughing silently, eyes bright. Or, Haley paused dramatically, it might sound exactly like the Australian voice from the app. Imagine that, every day, forever. She imitated it. G'day, shareholders. Let us talk profits, mate. It was too much. Liam let his head fall back, laughing without sound, his whole body shaking. And Haley realized something. He looked handsome when he laughed, not business magazine CEO handsome. Handsome in a human way. Real. Unprotected. When he finally recovered, he picked up the tablet and typed, You are terrible at impressions. Rude, Haley said, but she was smiling. But thank you. For what? For making me laugh. It does not happen often. Haley felt something warm spread through her chest, something dangerous. She stepped away from the desk, returning to the floor and the piles of documents, trying to create distance. Well, someone had to, she said, pretending to be busy with random papers. You are too serious. It is intimidating. Liam typed, Are you afraid of me? Haley froze, thought for a moment. No, she admitted. Not of you, but I am afraid of disappointing you. Why? Because you gave me a chance I did not deserve. The words came out before she could filter them. I am a waitress who spilled coffee on you twice. I have no experience, no degree, nothing that qualifies me to be here. Liam stepped down from the chair and walked to where she was sitting on the floor. He crouched down, stayed at her level, and then he did something completely unexpected. He picked up one of the documents she was holding, turned it to the blank side, and wrote by hand, You have courage, you have loyalty, you have honesty, and you are not afraid to put me in my place when I need it. That is worth more than any degree. Haley read the words 3 times. On the 4th time, her eyes began to sting. You cannot just say things like that, she murmured. Liam tilted his head, confused. Because. Haley searched for the right words, because it makes it seem like you truly believe in me. He wrote again, right below. I do believe. And then the first disaster of the night happened. Haley leaned forward to grab another document. Liam moved at the same time to pick up the pen that had fallen, and they hit their foreheads. Hard, with a hollowly embarrassing sound. Anne! Haley cried, falling back and holding her forehead. Liam made a silent grimace, also holding his own head. For a second, they stayed there. 2 professional adults sitting on the floor of a billionaire's office, holding their foreheads like children who had run into each other on the playground. Then Haley began to laugh, and Liam, once again, laughed without sound. "This," Haley said between laughs, "is exactly the kind of thing that happens to me." Liam picked up the tablet, still laughing. "To me too, apparently." The second disaster happened 15 minutes later. Haley had decided she needed coffee, urgently, before she fainted on top of the files. She went to the private coffee machine in the office, because of course billionaire CEOs had $5,000 coffee machines in their own offices, and tried to make it work. Tried. The machine had more buttons than an airplane panel. Okay, red button means hot water? Or an imminent explosion? She asked the machine. The machine did not answer. Haley pressed the button. The machine beeped, loudly, then hissed, then started leaking water. Not from the right place, from the completely wrong place. Water poured out from the side, straight onto the expensive wooden floor. "No, no, no!" Haley shouted, trying to stop the leak with her hands, which obviously did not work. Liam appeared next to her in 2 seconds, unplugged the machine, and stopped the chaos. They stood there, still, looking at the puddle of water. Haley looked at him. "I broke your $5,000 coffee machine, didn't I?" Liam looked at the machine, looked at her, and wrote on the tablet, 7,000. "Oh, great," Haley said, her voice coming out very high, "even better. But I hated this machine anyway. You... What? Too complicated, never worked right." Haley started laughing again. The kind of tired, almost hysterical laugh that shows up when you are too exhausted to process emotions normally. "I am a disaster," she said. Liam wrote, "I know, it is comforting." And there, standing next to a puddle of water, at 11:30 at night, on the 20th floor of a corporate building, Haley realized something terrible. She was starting to like Liam Carter, and not in the "he is my boss and I respect him" way. In the dangerous way. In the way that was going to complicate absolutely everything. Haley had decided that gala dresses were a socially accepted form of torture. The dress she was wearing, borrowed from her cousin who worked at a boutique and felt sorry for her life, was black, too tight at the waist, and had a side slit that made her feel one wrong move away from a wardrobe incident. She was in the ballroom of the Hotel Magnificence, real name unfortunately, surrounded by 300 people who seemed to have been born wearing tuxedos and drinking champagne from crystal glasses. "I do not belong here," she whispered to her clutch, which she was holding as if it were a life vest. "I mean it. Look at these people. They have posture. I tripped 3 times just walking in." The clutch, as always, was an excellent listener. Liam was on the other side of the room, surrounded by executives and investors who seemed to be competing to see who could talk louder and gesture more dramatically. He looked perfect. Black tuxedo, bow tie, hair perfectly brushed back. He looked like an ad for a Swiss watch, and completely uncomfortable. Haley could tell by the way he held the tablet, too tight, fingers tense, and by the way his eyes scanned the room as if he were looking for an emergency exit. She was about to walk over when a woman appeared at her side. Tall, blonde, red dress that probably cost more than 3 months of rent, and a smile that did not reach her eyes. "You must be the new assistant," the woman said, her voice sweet like poison. Haley turned, instantly suspicious. "Yes, Haley Brooks." "Victoria Hale." The woman extended her hand with perfectly done red nails. "Communications director at Carter Tech." "Ah." "Oh." Haley shook her hand, feeling as if she were greeting a snake. "Nice to meet you." "The pleasure is mine." Victoria tilted her head, studying Haley as if she were an interesting insect. "I must say, when I heard Liam had hired a waitress with no experience, I was curious." The way she said curious made it clear she actually meant horrified. Haley forced a smile. "Well, he's full of surprises." "He is." Victoria took a sip of champagne. "Especially lately. Poor thing, it must be so hard for him not being able to communicate properly. So limiting." There was something in her voice, something calculated. Haley felt the hair on the back of her neck rise. "He communicates perfectly," she said, her voice firmer now. "Oh, of course, with the tablet." Victoria laughed softly. "I hope it works during tonight's speech. It would be terrible if something went wrong on national television." Before Haley could respond, the lights in the ballroom dimmed. A man walked onto the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the CEO of Carter Tech, Liam Carter." Polite applause filled the room. Liam crossed to the stage holding the tablet, his expression neutral but his shoulders tense. Haley felt her stomach twist. Something was wrong. She didn't know what, but something was very, very wrong. Liam reached the microphone. He placed the tablet, took a deep breath, and tapped the screen. For a second, nothing happened. Then the voice app began to speak, but they were not the words Liam had programmed. "Hello, does anyone want pizza?" The room froze. Liam looked at the tablet, complete confusion on his face. He tapped the screen again. "My cat ate my homework." Nervous laughter echoed across the ballroom. Haley felt her blood turn cold. Liam pressed buttons quickly, tried to close the app, tried to restart it. The voice continued. "Did you know penguins have knees? It's true." The laughter was louder now, less nervous, more cruel. Someone shouted, "Is this a joke?" Another, "Carter Tech's CEO became a comedian." Liam stood frozen on the stage, holding the tablet that had turned to his worst enemy, his face pale under the lights. And then Haley saw it. Victoria Hale, standing near the stage, holding her phone with a screen showing remote controls. She had hacked the tablet. Hot, immediate anger flooded Haley. Without thinking, because thinking would have stopped her. She threw her clutch on the floor, kicked off her heels, they were hurting anyway, and marched barefoot straight to the stage. "Excuse me," she shouted, climbing the steps. 300 pairs of eyes turned to her. Haley reached Liam's side, took the tablet from his hand, and shut the device down completely. The silence that followed was deafening. She turned to the microphone. Her heart was beating so fast she could hear it in her ears. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. "Good evening," she began. "For those who don't know me, my name is Haley Brooks, and I am Mr. Carter's assistant." Murmurs moved through the crowd. Clearly, there was a technical problem. She looked straight at Victoria, who now had an expression of absolute shock. A problem someone caused on purpose, but that does not matter now. Haley turned to Liam, who was looking at her with a mix of surprise and something that looked like gratitude. "What matters," she continued, turning back to the microphone, "is that you came here today expecting to hear the CEO of Carter Tech, and you will. Through me." Liam picked up a pen and a card from the podium. He began writing, fast. He showed it to Haley. She read out loud, "Thank you for coming today. I know my current situation is unusual, but I want to make it clear that Carter Tech is not defined by one person's voice. It is defined by the actions of thousands." Liam kept writing. Haley kept reading. And something magical happened. The room became silent, truly silent, not mocking, attentive. "I lost my voice, but I did not lose my vision. I did not lose my commitment, and I definitely did not lose my team." Haley felt her own voice thicken. Because leadership is not about speaking louder, it is about listening better. Applause began, slowly at first, then louder, then overwhelming. Liam wrote one more line. Haley read, "And today, you met the person who taught me that." She blinked, looked at him. Liam was looking directly at her, not at the crowd, at her. And for the first time since she met him, he smiled. A small smile, but completely real. The applause exploded. 20 minutes later, Haley was leaning against the wall of the outer hallway, barefoot, her dress a little crooked, trying to process what had just happened. "You just saved the entire night," said a voice beside her. She turned. Liam was standing there, bow tie undone, jacket resting on his shoulder, holding her heels in one hand and her clutch in the other. He held them out to her. Haley took the shoes, giving a nervous little laugh. "I think I also just became the most famous assistant in Chicago. In a bad way." Liam shook his head, grabbed his phone, and typed, "In an incredible way. You were incredible." "Victoria hacked your tablet," Haley said quietly. "I saw it." She had the remote on her phone. Liam's expression darkened. "I know. It's already being handled." "You're going to fire her?" "Worse, I'm going to sue her." Haley laughed, a short, surprised laugh. "You are frightening when you want to be. Only when someone goes after the people I protect." Something tightened in Haley's chest. "Who do you protect?" Liam looked straight at her, held her gaze, and typed, "You." The hallway suddenly felt much smaller, much warmer. Haley swallowed. "Liam." Before she could continue, the door opened and a group of investors walked out, interrupting the moment. Liam stepped back, professional again, neutral again. But Haley had seen it, had felt it, and she knew, with absolute certainty, that something had changed between them. Something big, something frightening, and she had no idea what to do with it. The first disaster happened on the way back to the ballroom. Haley, too distracted thinking about what Liam had just said, didn't see the waiter carrying a tray of glasses. She turned. The waiter turned. Crash! 10 champagne glasses exploded on the floor in perfect sync. Haley froze, covered in champagne. The waiter stared at her, horrified. Liam covered his mouth with his hand, shoulders shaking. He was laughing, silently, but definitely laughing. "This is not funny," Haley practically shouted, though she was laughing too. Liam typed, "It is a little funny. I hate you. No, you don't." And he was right. She definitely didn't. The second disaster happened 15 minutes later when Haley finally made it back into the ballroom. She was trying to dry herself with napkins when she tripped, of course, and fell right onto the 3-tier cake that was being prepared for the ceremonial cutting. The cake collapsed. Haley was covered in frosting. The entire room stopped and stared. And then someone started clapping. Then someone else. Then the entire ballroom. Because apparently, destroying a gala cake counted as performance art. Liam appeared beside her, still laughing without sound, and helped her stand. He typed, "You are a disaster." "I know," Haley said, wiping frosting off her nose. "Never change." And right there, covered in champagne and frosting, in the middle of a ruined corporate event, Haley realized that maybe, just maybe, she had found exactly where she belonged. Haley thought the night could not get any stranger after destroying a 3-tier cake in front of 300 people. She was wrong, very wrong, because now she was stuck in an elevator with Liam Carter at 2 in the morning, still covered in dried frosting that had turned into some kind of sugary shell in her hair. "This cannot be happening," she said to the elevator ceiling, which had those annoying fluorescent lights that made a faint buzzing sound. "Seriously, what are the odds?" The elevator, of course, did not answer. Liam was leaning against the opposite wall, bow tie completely undone now, hanging around his neck like a failed fashion accessory. He had tried pressing every button, had tried the emergency intercom, had even tried forcing the doors open. Nothing. The elevator had simply stopped between the 12th and 13th floors, as if it had decided to take a nap. "Do you think we're going to die in here?" Haley asked casually, as if asking about the weather. Liam picked up the tablet and typed, "No." "Very comforting, very detailed, thank you." "Someone will notice soon." "Soon like 5 minutes? Or 5 hours? Because I need to use the restroom, and this is going to get very embarrassing very fast." Liam did that thing he did, covering his mouth with his hand when he was trying not to laugh. Haley slid down the wall until she was sitting on the floor, legs stretched out, heels tossed beside her. The evening gown was not made for sitting on an elevator floor, but honestly, after destroying a cake, etiquette rules did not feel important anymore. "You know," she said, looking up at the ceiling, "when I woke up this morning, I definitely didn't imagine the day would end like this." Liam sat down too, on the other side, back against the wall, knees bent. He looked tired, truly tired. Not just physically, emotionally. Haley watched him for a moment. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. Liam looked at her, considered the question as if no one had asked him that in a long time. Then typed, "Honestly, I don't know. Is it about tonight, what Victoria did?" "Partly." "And the other part?" He hesitated, fingers hovering over the tablet. Haley leaned forward. "Look, we're stuck in an elevator. We literally have nothing better to do. So you can tell me the truth, or we can just sit here in awkward silence until someone rescues us. Your choice." Liam looked at her for a long moment. Then he started typing, slowly. "I'm afraid they are right." "Who?" "Everyone. The investors, the board, the people who think I can't lead without a voice." Haley felt something tighten in her chest. "Liam?" He kept typing, faster now, as if the words were spilling out. "Every meeting is a fight. Every presentation is a humiliation waiting to happen. I'll try to speak and the app will crash, or choose the wrong voice, or someone will sabotage it like today. But you handled it," Haley cut in. "You handled all of it and still made it work. Because you were there." The silence that followed was heavy. Haley swallowed. "I only did what anyone would do." Liam shook his head. Typed, "No, you did what no one else did. You stood by me. Even when you were scared, even when everyone was laughing." "I wasn't scared," Haley lied. Liam raised an eyebrow. "Okay, I was terrified," she admitted. "But terrified in the I might throw up on my shoes way, not in the I'm going to abandon you way." "Why?" Why what? Why did you stay? Why do you care? Haley opened her mouth, closed it. She didn't know the answer, or she knew and was afraid to admit it. Because, she began slowly, because you're not what I expected. What did you expect? A rude, arrogant billionaire who treated assistants like furniture. She gave a small smile. But that's not you. You're human, uncomfortably human, and I think you forget that sometimes. Liam looked at her with an intensity that made her stomach twist. He started typing something, stopped, deleted it, typed again. Haley waited, curiosity eating her alive. What were you writing? She finally asked. Liam hesitated, then turned the tablet toward her. I think I'm starting to like you. The world stopped. Haley blinked, once, twice. You? What? He didn't pull back, he didn't look away, he just held the tablet there, the words glowing on the screen. Liam, she said slowly, her heart pounding so loudly she was sure he could hear it. You can't just say that. Why not? Because you're my boss, because it complicates everything. Because I also… She stopped, too late. Liam leaned forward, typed, You also what? Haley covered her face with her hands. Nothing, forget it. Haley, no, Haley. She lowered her hands and looked at him. Fine, I'm starting to like you too. Happy? I'm liking my billionaire boss who can't speak and who I spilled coffee on twice. This is a disaster. I'm a disaster. Liam was smiling, actually smiling. That rare smile that completely changed his face. He typed, I know. You know? That you're a disaster? Yes. I noticed when you destroyed my suit on the first day. No, Haley said, fighting her own smile. You knew I was starting to like you? I suspected. You turn red when I look at you. I do not. Yes, you do. Like right now. Haley touched her face and realized it was in fact warm. I hate you. No, you don't. Fine. I don't hate you, but I should. Why? Because this won't work, Haley said, her voice more serious now. You're a CEO. I'm a waitress pretending to know what I'm doing. We live in completely different worlds. Liam set the tablet aside, moved across the floor until he was sitting next to her. Close. Very close. He took out his phone and typed in the Notes app. What if I don't care about that? You should, Haley whispered. People will talk, they'll judge, they'll say I'm only with you for money. Are you? Of course not. She looked at him, offended. I didn't even want this job. You offered it to me. Then what's the problem? The problem is… Haley searched for the words. The problem is that I'm afraid of disappointing you, of not being enough, of you waking up one day and realizing you made a mistake hiring me, choosing me. Liam took her hand, slowly, giving her time to pull away if she wanted. She didn't. He wrote with his other hand, You saved me today. Not the assistant, not the employee. You, Haley. The person who spills coffee on CEOs and talks to objects and destroys cakes. That person saved me. Haley felt tears sting her eyes. You can't just say things like that. Why not? Because it makes it sound like this is real. Liam let go of her hand, picked up the phone, typed slowly, What if it is? Before Haley could respond, the elevator shook, violently. Haley screamed and grabbed Liam instinctively. The elevator dropped, not much, maybe half a meter, but enough to make her stomach rise to her throat. Then it stopped again, more abruptly than before. The lights flickered. Okay, this is not normal. Haley shouted, still holding on to him. Liam held her firmly, one hand on her back, the other on her shoulder. They stayed like that, frozen, waiting. Nothing else happened. Slowly, very slowly, Haley looked up. Liam's face was inches from hers. She could see the details in his gray eyes. She could feel his breath. She could feel his heartbeat against her own. Liam, she whispered. He looked at her lips. Haley stopped breathing. And then the elevator jolted again, this time in motion. Upward. The two of them stepped apart quickly, as if someone had caught them doing something wrong. The elevator began to rise, normally, as if nothing had happened. You've got to be kidding me, Haley said to the ceiling. Now you decide to work? The elevator clearly had a terrible sense of humor. When the doors finally opened in the lobby, 3 security guards and a technician were waiting. Are you both all right? One of the guards asked. Great, Haley replied, her voice coming out very high. Very well, perfectly fine. Liam only nodded, picked up his jacket, and started walking out. But before he reached the doors, he stopped, turned, picked up his phone and typed something. He showed it to Haley. We need to talk. Tomorrow. And then he left, leaving Haley standing there, covered in dried frosting, heart racing, and completely certain that she had just crossed a line she could not uncross. The first extra disaster had happened in the middle of the elevator conversation. Haley had leaned down to grab her bag and accidentally kicked Liam's tablet. The tablet slid across the floor, hit the wall, and the screen cracked. Not much, just a thin crack across the corner, but enough to make Haley freeze in absolute horror. She began. Liam picked up the tablet, looked at the crack, looked at her, and wrote on his phone, "At least it was not coffee this time." Haley had laughed. That nervous laugh that comes when you are 2 seconds away from an emotional collapse. The second disaster happened when they finally stepped out of the elevator. Haley, too distracted thinking about everything that had happened, did not see the wet floor sign. She stepped, slipped, and would have fallen face first to the floor if Liam had not grabbed her arm at the last second. They stayed like that, he holding her. She tilted forward, both looking at each other. One of the guards cleared his throat. "Do you need help?" "No," Haley answered quickly, straightening up. "I just have trouble with gravity. It is a medical condition." Liam covered his mouth with his hand, and Haley realized that, even after everything, he still thought she was funny. Still thought she was herself. And that, somehow, was more frightening than any feeling she had admitted that night. Haley discovered the truth in the worst possible way. Accidentally. She was not snooping. She was not being intrusive. She was literally just trying to find the quarterly budget file Liam had asked for, which, considering his digital organization system was a Kafka-like nightmare, was already an impossible mission. But then she opened the wrong folder and found emails, many emails, between Victoria Hale and at least 6 senior members of the executive team. Haley did not want to read. She truly did not. But the subject of the first email was the Carter situation. And well, she was human, she clicked. From Victoria Hale to Executive Board subject, the Carter situation. Dear colleagues, as discussed, Mr. Carter's vocal inability is beginning to negatively affect public perception of Carter Tech. I suggest we consider a temporary leadership transition until he fully recovers, if he ever does. I am sure we all agree that the company cannot continue being represented by someone who is unable to communicate properly. Sincerely, Victoria Haley felt her stomach twist. She scrolled down. There were more. Many more. Emails discussing how to gently suggest that Liam step aside. Emails about how to manage the narrative of his incapacity. Emails planning meetings without him. Meetings about the future of the company. Meetings about mergers. Meetings about everything. And then she saw the part that made her blood run cold. A reply from Liam, dated 3 weeks ago. From Liam Carter to Victoria Hale. Subject, the Carter situation. Victoria, I understand your concerns. I will do my best not to interfere with operations. If you need to make decisions without me, you have my authorization. L.C. Haley read it again and again and again. He had given permission. He had let Victoria and the board isolate him, had let them make decisions without him, had simply given up. No, she whispered at the computer screen. No, no, no. The office door opened. Liam walked in, holding the tablet and 2 cups of coffee, because he had started bringing her coffee every morning, which was adorable and now made her want to throw something. He stopped when he saw her expression, tilted his head, confused. Haley turned the laptop screen toward him. When were you going to tell me? Her voice came out more controlled than she expected, cold, distant. Liam looked at the screen. His face went pale. He placed the cups on the desk, slowly, carefully, picked up the tablet. Do not try to give me a digital excuse, Haley cut in before he could type. I want to know. When were you going to tell me that you let them isolate you? That you let Victoria basically take your job? Liam started typing frantically. The tablet beeped and froze. The screen stopped responding. He pressed buttons, shook the device. Nothing. You've got to be kidding me, Haley said, almost laughing from pure frustration. Now the tablet freezes? Now? Liam grabbed his phone, started typing in the Notes app. But Haley was talking too fast, anger spilling out. You know what I thought? I thought you were fighting. I thought you were trying to prove to everyone that you could lead even without a voice. But you were not, were you? You just let them push you aside. Liam showed the phone. It is not like that? Not like that? Haley spun the laptop back toward him, pointing at the email. You have my authorization? That looks a lot like giving up. He typed faster. I was trying to protect the company. Protect the company or protect your pride? Because it looks a lot more like you were too embarrassed to fight. Liam stopped typing, looked at her as if he had been slapped, then typed slowly, each word deliberate. You do not understand. Then explain it to me. Haley practically shouted. Use words, use the tablet, use the phone, use whatever you want. But explain why you let that viper destroy you. Liam started typing. A long message, fingers flying across the screen. But Haley was in her rhythm now, months of frustration pouring out. You know what hurts the most? I believed in you. I went up on that stage and defended you in front of 300 people because I thought you were fighting, that you were strong, but you are not. You just gave up. Liam showed her the phone. There was a full paragraph, a complete explanation. But Haley was looking at him, not at the screen. And what about me? She asked, her voice breaking now. Am I temporary too? Am I going to be pushed aside when you decided it's easier not to fight? Liam shook his head violently, tried to push the phone closer to her, but Haley was already grabbing her bag. I need air, she said. I cannot stay here right now. She turned to leave. Liam grabbed her wrist, gently, not forcing, just asking her to stay. Haley looked at his hand, then at his face. There was something in his eyes, something desperate. He lifted the phone again, almost begging her to read. But Haley was tired of interpreting, tired of translating, tired of always having to guess. Let go of me, she said softly. Liam released her instantly, and Haley left. She did not read the message, did not see the words he had typed. I did not give up. I was afraid that if I fought, they would fire everyone who supported me, including you. I was protecting you. Please do not go. Please. She only saw the door and crossed it. Haley ended up in the coffee shop across the street. Not because she wanted coffee, because she needed a place to sit and process the fact that she had just fought with her boss, who was also the person she was beginning to, whatever that was. She ordered a cappuccino she was not going to drink and collapsed at a corner table. You are an idiot, she told the sugar dispenser. A complete and total idiot. The sugar dispenser, diplomatically, neither agreed nor disagreed. Her phone vibrated. Please come back. Let me explain properly. She ignored it. Vibrated again. I did not give up. I never gave up. I was only trying to protect the right people. Again. Protect you. Haley tossed the phone into her bag. She did not want to read, did not want to process, did not want to feel the guilt that was beginning to gnaw inside her. Because maybe, just maybe, she had reacted too quickly. Maybe she had judged too quickly. Maybe. The cafe door flew open. Haley looked up. And there he was, Liam Carter, in a suit, without the jacket, tie crooked, hair messy as if he had run his hand through it 1,000 times, and holding a whiteboard. A portable whiteboard, the kind used in meetings. Haley blinked. You brought a whiteboard to a cafe? Liam nodded, heavy breathing, as if he had been running. He walked to her table, pulled out a chair and sat down. He placed the whiteboard on the table between them and started writing, with a blue marker. Fast handwriting, but readable. You didn't let me explain. Because you took too long, Haley replied, but her voice was less firm now. He wrote underneath, Victoria threatened to fire you. And 12 other employees, if I fought against the board. Haley felt her stomach drop. What? Liam kept writing, turning to a new section of the board. She said, unfortunately, some cuts would be necessary if things became difficult. She didn't say names, but I knew you would be on the list. So you, Haley began, trying to process. I gave the authorization. I let them make some decisions. I made it look like I was stepping back to protect you. But you didn't tell me. Liam erased part of the board and wrote in large letters, because you would have tried to fight and you would have put yourself at risk. Haley looked at the words, then at him. You are an idiot, she said, already starting to cry. A complete idiot. Liam wrote, I know. You should have told me. I know. I would have fought with you. I know. That's why I didn't tell you. Haley let out a wet laugh and wiped her eyes. I hate when you're right. Liam almost smiled. He wrote, you don't hate it. Stop using that line, she murmured. He wrote one more thing. Sorry, for everything. For not trusting that you could handle it. For letting you think I had given up. I never gave up. Especially not on you. Something tightened in Haley's chest. Liam, he raised his hand, asking for one more second. He turned the board around and wrote on the back, "You are the first person in years who makes me want to fight. Not for the company, for something real." The entire cafe was watching now, because a billionaire CEO writing declarations on a whiteboard in the middle of a Starbucks was definitely a scene. Haley covered her face with her hands. "You can't just write things like this in public." Liam wrote underneath, "Why not?" "Because people are looking." "I don't mind." "Liam, do you forgive me?" Haley lowered her hands, looked at him, really looked. She saw the exhaustion, the vulnerability, the fear that she might say no. "Yes," she finally said, "I forgive you, but if you hide something from me again, I swear I will." She didn't finish the sentence, because at that exact moment, she leaned over to grab a napkin and bumped the cappuccino, which tipped and spilled, right onto Liam's lap. Again, Haley froze. Liam looked at his soaked lap, looked at her, and started laughing, silently, shoulders shaking. He wrote on the board, "At least this time it wasn't hot coffee." "I am so sorry," Haley yelled, grabbing every napkin she could find. "I know, it's reassuring." And there in the middle of the cafe, with Liam covered in cappuccino and half the store watching, Haley realized something. She had fallen in love with him. Completely. Irrevocably. And it was absolutely terrifying. Haley should not be there. Like, definitely, absolutely not hiding behind a giant plant that probably cost more than her car in Carter Tech's lobby, peeking through fake leaves at a quarterly meeting with at least 100 people. But she was. Because 3 days earlier, after the cappuccino and whiteboard incident, which had already become office legend, she had told Liam she needed a few days to think. Which was code for, "I am terrified of my own feelings and need space before I do something extremely foolish like confess my love to my billionaire boss." Liam had respected it. Of course he had. Because he was annoyingly understanding. But then, this morning, she got a message from Sarah in accounting, who had become something like a friend after Haley helped her avoid destroying the third-floor printer. "Sarah, you need to come. Liam is going to make a big presentation, and I think it's about you." "What?" He's acting strange, more nervous than usual, adjusted his tie like 47 times, and asked the whole team to be present. "Sarah, I am off." "Then be off here, hidden. Please, I need someone to hold my hand if this is a disaster." And now Haley was here, crouched behind an ornamental palm tree, wearing sunglasses indoors, because disguises totally work like that, trying not to be seen. "This is a terrible idea," she whispered to the plant. "You agree, right?" The plant, being fake, maintained admirable neutrality. Up front, Liam stepped onto the small stage set up in the main lobby. He looked impeccable as always. Dark gray suit, navy tie, hair perfectly styled. But even from a distance, Haley could see Sarah was right. He was nervous. The way he adjusted his tie. Twice. The way he cleared his throat. No sound, obviously, but the gesture was there. The way his fingers tapped on the tablet. The CFO gave a quick presentation about the quarter's numbers. Haley didn't pay attention. She was too busy watching Liam grow progressively more tense. Then it was his turn. Liam approached the microphone. Positioned the tablet, took a deep breath, touched the screen. The app's voice came out clear. "Male, professional. Thank you all for being here today. I would like to make an important announcement." So far, so good. Haley let out the breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Liam kept typing. The voice continued. "In the last few weeks, we have faced unique challenges. My vocal situation created obstacles that, I admit, I did not always know how to overcome." The room was completely silent, 100 people focused. But it also taught me something essential. Leadership is not about having the loudest voice. It is about having the right people by your side. Haley felt something tighten in her chest. Liam typed more, but then the tablet beeped. Loud, sharp, the kind of beep that made everyone in the room flinch. The screen flickered. Liam looked down, confusion crossing his face. He touched the screen again, and the voice that came out was different. Very different. It was childish, high-pitched, as if a cartoon character had taken over the app. "And I want to say thank you to my best little friend." The entire room froze. Haley covered her mouth with her hand, eyes wide. No, oh no. Liam stared at the tablet as if it had personally betrayed him. He pressed buttons, tried to close the app. The childish voice kept going, even more excited. She is the nicest person in the whole world, and I like her very, very much. Laughter started, small at first, then bigger. Liam went pale, completely pale. He tried turning the tablet off, shook the device. The voice shouted, "We will be friends forever and ever." The room exploded in laughter, not mean, not cruel, but loud and uncontrollable. Haley saw the exact moment something inside Liam broke. He stopped trying to fix the tablet. He just stood there, still, on the stage, while the laughter echoed, while 100 people laughed at a moment that was meant to be serious, a moment that was supposed to be his. And then he did something that shattered Haley's heart into pieces. He lowered his head, just slightly, just enough for her to see he had given up. He left the stage, walked across the room, and disappeared into the elevator. The laughter faded slowly, turning into an awkward silence. Someone cleared their throat. "Well, that was unexpected," the CFO said, trying to regain control. "Let's take a 15-minute break." People began to scatter, whispering to each other. Haley stepped out from behind the plant. Sarah appeared beside her immediately. "You need to go after him," she said. "I can't," Haley replied, her voice strange. "I'm off today. He doesn't know I'm here. It would be weird." "Haley," Sarah grabbed her by the shoulders. "He just tried to make a public statement, and the universe literally humiliated him. Go after him." Haley looked at the elevator, then at Sarah. "What if I make things worse?" "Impossible," Sarah said. "You already spilled coffee on him twice, and he is still in love with you. Go." Haley didn't remember agreeing to run, but her feet were already moving. She crossed the lobby, ignored curious stares, and stepped into the next elevator. 20th floor. His office. When the doors opened, she rushed out and ran straight into someone. Not just someone. Victoria Hale. "Miss Brooks," Victoria said, smiling with venom. "What a surprise to see you here. I thought you were off today." "I am," Haley replied, trying to move past her. Victoria blocked the way. "You know, I was thinking, it is impressive how Mr. Carter managed to humiliate himself so completely on his own. No outside help this time." Something snapped inside Haley. "Move." "Or what?" Victoria tilted her head. "You're gonna throw coffee on me too?" Haley stepped forward, close, very close. "No," she said, voice low and dangerous. "But I will make sure everyone knows it was you who hacked his tablet today." Again. Victoria blinked, just once. But it was enough. "I have no idea what you are talking about." "Sure you do," Haley shot back. "And you know what else I know? I know you are trying to bring him down because you are afraid that even without a voice, he is still a better leader than you will ever be." Victoria opened her mouth to respond. Haley didn't let her. "Now get out of my way," she said, each word firm. And Victoria stepped aside, because something in Haley's voice made it clear this was not negotiable. Haley practically ran to Liam's office. The door was closed. She knocked. Once, twice, nothing. "Liam," she called, "I know you're in there. Please open the door." Silence. "I saw it," she continued, resting her forehead against the door. "I saw everything, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry I asked for time. I'm sorry the universe keeps being cruel to you." Still nothing. Haley felt her eyes sting. "But I need you to know that it doesn't matter what voice comes out of that stupid tablet. It doesn't matter if it's childish or robotic or Australian, because I already know what you were trying to say." The door opened. Liam was there. Tie undone, hair messy, eyes red. He hadn't cried. Liam Carter probably never cried, but he had come close. Haley stepped inside, closed the door behind her. "You were there?" He typed on his phone, his hands trembling slightly. "Hiding behind a plant," she admitted. "Sarah told me." "So you heard?" "I heard," Haley said softly, before the childish voice ruined everything. Liam let out a silent, bitter laugh. He typed, "I practically asked you out in front of 100 people, and the child voice said you were my best little friend. I will never recover from that." Haley couldn't help it. She laughed. A small laugh, but genuine. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "It's not funny. It's terrible. But it's also extremely you. Like, only you could turn a romantic declaration into a children's show moment." Liam covered his face with his hands. Haley moved closer. Slowly, she pulled his hands gently away from his face. "But you know what else is extremely you?" she said softly. "Trying again. Even after everything goes wrong, even after being humiliated, you still tried." "And I failed." "You didn't fail," Haley countered. Victoria sabotaged it, again, but I took care of that. Liam raised an eyebrow. Let's just say she won't mess with you again. Not if she knows what's good for her. What did you do? Defended you, Haley said simply. The way you did for me. Liam looked at her for a long moment, then typed, I was going to ask you out, officially, in front of everyone, so there would be no doubt. I know, and I ruined it completely. You didn't ruin it, Haley said, taking a step closer. You just need better technology, or my voice back. Or, Haley suggested, now inches from him, you could just ask me. Here, now, no tablet, no voice, just you. Liam swallowed hard. He picked up a pen, a piece of paper, wrote something, showed it to her. Do you want to go out with me? Simple, direct, nothing for the technology to ruin. Haley smiled. Yes, she said, but only if you promise to never make public declarations with that tablet again. Liam wrote, I promise. And then it happened. Haley leaned in, Liam leaned in, and the door swung open. Sarah came in like a storm. Sorry, but Victoria is trying to call an emergency board meeting, and... She stopped, looked at them, the closeness, the tension. I will come back later. She left and closed the door. Haley dropped her head onto Liam's shoulder, laughing. We are never going to have a normal moment, are we? Liam wrote, apparently not. But I wouldn't change anything. And Haley, drowning in secondhand embarrassment after witnessing the most disastrous declaration in history, realized she wouldn't change anything either. Not a single second. Haley found out by accident. Again. Apparently, she had a special talent for stumbling into truths no one wanted her to know. She was looking for the old contract file. Because Liam had asked for something from 2 years ago, blue folder, third drawer, which was enough information for absolutely no one, when she found a box in the back of the cabinet. Not a digital box. A physical one. Cardboard. With old tape and the word personal written in rushed handwriting. You know you shouldn't open this, right? She said to the stapler on the desk. It literally says personal. That's like the universal code for do not touch. The stapler wisely said nothing. Haley looked at the box, looked at the closed office door, looked back at the box. Just a quick peek, she murmured, just to make sure it's not the file he asked for. This is professionalism, totally professional. She opened the box. Inside were newspaper clippings, many, all carefully folded and organized by date. The first was from 2 years ago. Carter Tech CEO faces scandal. Controversial deal threatens hundreds of jobs. Haley frowned, kept reading. The article talked about a planned merger with a company called Technova. A $1 billion deal that would modernize operations but also eliminate redundancies, which was corporate code for lay off a large number of people. The second clipping was more direct. Liam Carter, heartless billionaire or brilliant strategist. The third was worse. Employees protest against CEO who prioritizes profits over people. There were photos. Liam leaving meetings, Liam avoiding reporters, Liam with an expression so neutral it looked carved from stone. And then Haley found something different, an audio recording, on an old flash drive with a handwritten label, board meeting, Zuri 15. She looked at the door again. She knew she should not. She plugged in the flash drive, pressed play. The first voice that came on was not Liam's. It was an older man with an authoritative tone. Mr. Carter, the board has voted. The merger with Technova will go forward. The layoffs are necessary. 500 employees in redundant departments will be dismissed. Silence. Then Liam's voice, his real voice, clear, steady, no tablet, no app. And if I refuse, you do not have the authority to refuse. The board has decided. Then I will go public. Liam's voice was tense now. I will expose that you are sacrificing 500 jobs to boost quarterly numbers. I will make sure every employee knows exactly what is happening. A second voice entered. Female, sharp. Victoria, that would be extremely careless, Liam. Your reputation is already fragile. If you fight this, the board may vote for your removal. Then let them vote. His voice was firm, unshakable. I will not sign off on mass layoffs of people who trusted me, not without a fight. You are committing professional suicide. Maybe, but I will do it standing. The recording continued. The meeting grew more heated. Liam refused to give in. He proposed alternatives. Salary cuts for executives, including himself. Gradual restructuring. Staff relocation. The board rejected everything. And then came the part that made Haley's stomach twist. If you insist on being stubborn, Mr. Carter, you may need to reconsider your position. We have information about your personal finances, about questionable investments. It would be unfortunate if that reached the press. Long silence. Then Liam's voice, quieter now. You are threatening me. We are offering context. More silence. I will do the following, Liam said finally. I will publicly take responsibility for the merger. I will say it was my decision. You keep the 500 employees for at least 6 more months and find new positions for them. No one goes out on the street immediately. And in return, I carry the blame, alone, publicly. The recording ended. Haley sat in absolute silence, staring at the computer screen. He had done it. Liam had taken the blame for something the board had decided. He had let the media destroy his reputation. He had become the villain. To save 500 jobs. And then she found the last newspaper clipping, dated 3 weeks after that meeting. Carter Tech CEO hospitalized, complications in vocal cord surgery. Haley read the article 3 times. Liam had undergone vocal cord surgery 2 days after publicly taking the blame for the merger. The surgery that should have been simple, but had unexpected complications that left him without a voice, right when he needed it the most to defend himself. The office door opened. Liam walked in, holding 2 cups of coffee, and stopped when he saw the look on her face. He looked at the open box, at the newspapers spread out, at the flash drive. He set the coffee cups on the desk, slowly, picked up the tablet and typed, "You were not supposed to see that." "Why?" Haley asked, her voice strange. "Why did you never tell me?" "Because it does not matter." "How does it not matter?" she almost shouted. "You sacrificed your reputation, you let everyone hate you, and then you lost your voice trying to defend yourself." "I did not lose my voice defending anything," he typed quickly. "It was just bad luck." "Liam?" Haley stood up. "You had the surgery 2 days after taking the blame. You were stressed. You probably did not sleep. You probably did not eat well. Your body was collapsing and you still went through with the procedure." "I needed to remove the polyps. It was necessary." "It was neglect," Haley replied. "Neglect of yourself, because you were too busy saving everyone else." Liam looked at her. A carefully neutral expression, but Haley was starting to read the spaces between the lines. "How many?" she asked softly. "How many what?" "How many jobs did you save?" Liam hesitated, then typed 473. "And how many people know that it was you?" "None. That was the agreement." Haley felt something break inside her chest. "So you carry all of this alone, the guilt that is not yours, the ruined reputation, the voice you lost, everything alone." "I made my choice." "That was not a choice," Haley said, her voice breaking. "It was blackmail. They forced you. And I accepted it," he typed firmly, "because it was the only way to protect those people. And I would do it again." Haley looked at him. Really looked. She saw a man who had sacrificed everything, reputation, voice, health, to do what was right, and who had never asked for recognition. "You are an idiot," she said, but she was crying now. "I have been told that. You are a noble, frustrating idiot, and I do not know if I want to hug you or yell at you. Both will work." Haley walked across the office, stopped in front of him. "Those 473 people, they deserve to know. They do not. They deserve to keep their jobs and live their lives. My reputation does not matter." "It matters to me," Haley said firmly, "because I love you, and I cannot stand seeing everyone think you are something you are not." Liam froze, looked at her as if she had just spoken in another language. Haley realized what had come out of her own mouth. She began. Liam dropped the tablet, grabbed his phone, typed faster than she had ever seen. "Did you just say you love me?" "I maybe, accidentally? All right, not accidentally," Haley admitted. "But that was not how I wanted to say it. It was supposed to be romantic, with context, not in the middle of a discussion about corporate ethics." Liam was smiling now, actually smiling. He wrote, "I love you too." And the world stopped. Haley stared at the words. "You, really?" He nodded, firmly, without hesitation. "But I am a disaster," she said weakly. "I know. And you are a billionaire CEO who sacrifices his own happiness for strangers. Not for strangers, for people who depend on me." "You are impossible," she murmured, "and you love me anyway." "Unfortunately," Haley admitted, and then she kissed him. Finally, no interruptions, no disasters, no frozen tablets, just them. for exactly 15 seconds, before Haley, without meaning to, stepped back and knocked over the coffee cup. It fell, and broke, and spilled coffee all over the expensive Persian rug. They pulled apart, looked at the disaster. Liam picked up his phone. "I really need to stop leaving coffee near you." "Probably," Haley agreed, "but I will not." And there, standing in the middle of a billionaire's office with spilled coffee and exposed secrets, Haley realized she had found something she never knew she was looking for. Someone who loved her. Disasters and all. The medical appointment had been clear. Brutally clear. Dr. Morrison, a gray-haired man with a perpetually worried expression, had looked at Liam with that face of, "I am about to say something you will not like," and delivered the news. 24 hours. No tablet, no phone, no voice app, no writing, nothing. Absolute silence. Liam had looked at the doctor as if he had suggested amputating an arm. Haley, sitting beside him in the exam room, because being his girlfriend now came with the privilege of joining medical appointments apparently, had tried not to laugh. She failed. "Sorry," she said quickly, covering her mouth. "It is not funny. It is just that you look like he just told you to stop breathing." Dr. Morrison did not look amused. "Miss Brooks, this is extremely serious. Mr. Carter has been relying on constant compensatory mechanisms. The vocal nerves need complete rest. That includes the anxiety of constantly trying to communicate." "So, he cannot even write?" Haley asked. "Correct. Writing creates mental stress that manifests physically. He needs cognitive rest as well." Liam raised his hand. Universal gesture of, "May I speak?" but ironically unable to speak. "No," the doctor said firmly, "and before you try, you also cannot use sign language. Nothing that requires active communicative effort." Liam let his hand drop. Defeated, Haley looked at him. He looked back, and she saw the panic. Real, genuine panic. "It is all right," she said, taking his hand. "I can interpret. Easy." Dr. Morrison raised an eyebrow. "You understand body language?" "Not officially," Haley admitted, "but I've spent 3 months translating him. How hard can it be?" Spoiler, it was very hard. They had been exactly 2 hours into the absolute silence regime, and Haley had already misinterpreted. A request for water, she had brought coffee. A request to close the window, she had opened it wider, and an attempt from him to say, "I love you," which she had translated as, "You are sitting on my suit jacket." It was going great. "Okay," Haley said, sitting on the office couch while Liam was at his desk, clearly trying to work without being able to communicate with anyone. "Let's set up a system. Like corporate charades." Liam looked at her, raised an eyebrow. "What? It works," she insisted. "Look, if you need something, you point. If you agree, nod. If you disagree, shake your head. And if you want to insult me, you can just give me that look you use when your life choices. You're very good at that." He made the face. "See?" Haley pointed. "Exactly that one." Liam's shoulders shook. Silent laughter. "Okay, let's practice," Haley said, getting up and walking over to him. "Tell me, without using anything but your face, what you want for lunch." Liam thought, then made a gesture with his hands, like shaping something round. "Pizza," Haley exclaimed. He shook his head. "Hamburger?" Another shake. "Some kind of bowl?" he sighed. No sound, but the shoulder movement was obvious, and reached for a pen. Haley took the pen out of his hand. "Oh no, sir." The doctor was very clear. "No writing. You will have to show me." Liam looked at her with an expression that clearly said, "You are enjoying this too much." "Absolutely," Haley confirmed, smiling. He got up, walked to the small office coffee area, pointed at the machine, the new one, because Haley had destroyed the previous one. "Coffee?" Haley guessed. "You want coffee for lunch? That is not lunch. That is concerning behavior." Liam shook his head, pointed to the fridge beside it. "Something from the fridge," he nodded, opened the door, pointed at the container of hummus. "Hummus? You want hummus?" He nodded, but then pointed at something else. "And carrots," Haley tried, seeing the bag of baby carrots. Liam nodded enthusiastically. "Hummus with carrots," Haley repeated. "You, a billionaire, want hummus with carrots for lunch." He shrugged, as if saying, "It's healthy." "You are so strange," she murmured. "I love you, but you are strange." Liam smiled. That small, rare smile. And then he did something unexpected. He took her hand, placed it on his chest, over his heart, looked directly at her. Haley felt his heartbeat under her palm. "You love me too," she said softly. He nodded. Once. Firm. And the moment would have been perfect if Haley hadn't accidentally stepped back and bumped into the counter. The toaster fell, not on the floor, worse, into the sink, which had water in it. The toaster made an electrical protest before giving up for good. Haley and Liam stared at the dead appliance. "This," Haley began, "is not covered by my insurance, right?" Liam shook his head, but he was smiling. At 3 in the afternoon, Haley had developed an impressive talent for reading micro-expressions. A slight twitch in the left eyebrow? He was confused by something in the report. Fingers tapping on the desk? Impatient with an email. A distant look out the window? Tired, but trying to hide it. "You need a break," Haley said, appearing beside his desk with 2 bottles of water. "And before you try to argue without words, the answer is yes, you do." Liam looked at her, considered, then nodded. They went to the couch. Haley dropped onto it without ceremony. Liam sat with more composure, but still visibly exhausted. "You know," Haley said, staring at the ceiling, "this is like forced meditation for you. Like, you can't control everything. You can't give orders. You can't send passive-aggressive emails. You just exist." Liam looked at her, then made a hand gesture, something like, "sort of." "Fine," Haley agreed. "You can still be passive-aggressive without words. I saw that look you gave the intern today." He almost cried. Liam covered his face, embarrassed. "I'm joking," Haley laughed. "He deserved it. Who sends a 3-page report in Comic Sans?" Liam uncovered his face, pointed at her, then at himself, then brought both hands together. Haley frowned. "You and me, together?" He nodded. "Like, philosophically together, or are you trying to say something else?" Liam rolled his eyes, took her hand, interlaced their fingers. "Oh," Haley said softly. "That kind of together." He nodded again, and they stayed like that, in silence, fingers intertwined. Haley realized it was the most comfortable silence she had ever experienced. No tension, no expectation, just presence. "You know what's strange?" she said after a moment. "I always thought silence was awkward, like I had to fill every second with words or jokes or anything. But with you, it's different." Liam squeezed her hand, gently. "It's like the silence finally makes sense," she continued, "because it doesn't need to be filled, it can just be." He looked at her, and there was something in his eyes, something deep and honest. Haley realized he was afraid. "Hey," she said softly, "are you okay?" Liam hesitated, then shook his head, slowly. "No?" He confirmed. "Why?" Liam looked at his own hands, then at her, and made a gesture, pointed to his mouth, then to his heart, then to her. Haley processed. "You are afraid you won't be able to tell me what you feel?" He nodded, and there was so much vulnerability there it hurt. "Liam," Haley said, turning fully toward him, "you already tell me, every day, without words." He raised an eyebrow, skeptical. "Really?" she insisted. "You bring me coffee every morning, even though you hate waking up early. You hold doors. You put your jacket on my shoulders when I complain about the air conditioning. You look at me like I'm the most interesting thing in the world, even when I'm talking to inanimate objects." Liam was looking at her now, really looking. "You don't need a voice to show me you love me," Haley said. "You already do. Every day. In 1,000 small ways that mean more than any word ever could." He cupped her face, gently, his thumb brushing her cheek, and he kissed her, slowly, softly, as if he had all the time in the world. When they pulled apart, Haley was smiling. "See?" she whispered, "no words needed." Liam smiled back, and then the second disaster happened. Haley, trying to get more comfortable on the couch, hit her elbow on the coffee table. The stack of documents fell. Papers flew everywhere like corporate confetti. "No," Haley shouted, scrambling to grab everything. "I organized that. It took me 2 hours." Liam was laughing, silently, his shoulders shaking. "This is not funny," she protested, but she was laughing too now. They spent the next 20 minutes on the floor, reorganizing papers, communicating through looks and gestures and silent laughter. And Haley realized something. She didn't need his words. She never had. Because love wasn't about what you said. It was about how you showed up. And Liam showed up. Completely. Even in silence. Especially in silence. The voice came back in a whisper. Literally. Haley was making coffee in the new machine she had sworn never to break again. When she heard it, "I lay." She froze. The mug almost slipped from her hand. She turned slowly, very slowly, as if a quick movement might break whatever had just happened. Liam was standing in the office doorway, hand on his throat, eyes wide. He had spoken. He had spoken. You, Haley began, her voice coming out strange. Did you just… Liam opened his mouth again. Tried. The voice came out rough, harsh like sandpaper on wood. Spoke. And then he did the most human thing Haley had ever seen. He started crying. No sound at first, just tears sliding down his face as he touched his own throat like he couldn't believe it. Haley dropped the mug, spilling coffee, of course, and ran to him. Liam, she said, holding his face. Hey, look at me. He looked, eyes red, vulnerable, completely broken by relief. Your voice came back, she said, smiling through her own tears. It came back. He tried to speak again, only managed a strangled sound. Slow, Haley instructed. One word at a time. No rush. Liam took a deep breath. Tried again. Yo-ooh, he managed, voice cracking, are beautiful. Haley laughed. That wet laugh that comes when you're crying and happy at the same time. You spend months without talking, and the first thing you say is that? He nodded. Tried to smile, but was crying too much. Idiot, she whispered, pulling him into a hug. They stayed like that, in the middle of the office, holding each other, both crying. And then Liam's phone rang. He stepped back, wiping his eyes, and looked at the screen. His expression changed, completely, from relief to absolute tension. What is it? Haley asked. Liam showed her the phone. It was an email from the board. Emergency meeting. Today. In 3 hours. Subject, final decision on Carter Tech leadership. Liam tried, his voice failing. He grabbed the tablet, still needed it for long phrases, and typed, They are going to try to force me to sign the new agreement, or remove me. What agreement? Haley asked, taking his phone and scrolling through the email. Merger with Technova. Again. But this time it's worse. Not 500 layoffs, 800, and Victoria's behind it. Haley felt anger rise in her throat. Then you're going to expose her, she said simply. If I do that, I lose the deal, and the board can remove me for harmful behavior to the company. And if you don't? Liam looked at her. Tired, defeated. 800 people lose their jobs, and Victoria wins. No, Haley said firmly. That's not defeat, that's blackmail. Again. I don't know if I can fight this time. Yes, you can, Haley replied. And do you know why? Because you have something you didn't have before. What? Me, she said. And your voice. Partially, but it's still yours. Liam looked at her for a long moment. Then he tried to speak. I am afraid. The words came out broken, but honest. Haley took his hand. I know, but we'll go together, and we're going to build the best presentation that board has ever seen. How? Haley smiled. That determined smile she used right before doing something completely insane. With the truth. All of it. 2 hours and 45 minutes later, they had a presentation. It wasn't pretty. Haley wasn't a graphic designer yet, but it was clear, direct, and devastating. Slide 1. The original merger, the 500 jobs, the blackmail. Slide 2. The deal Liam made, the recordings, everything. Slide 3. The new deal, 800 layoffs, Victoria's involvement. Slide 4. The alternatives the board had refused. Are you sure about this? Haley asked, looking at Liam. He was sitting in the chair, staring at the presentation on the screen. He tried to speak. If I don't do this, he stopped, frustrated, and grabbed the tablet. If I don't do this, I'm as bad as they are. You could lose everything, Haley said gently. I know. The company, the position, maybe even your reputation again. I know. Then why? Liam set the tablet down, looked directly at her, and forced the words, because it is right. Haley felt something tighten in her chest. Okay, she said. Then let's do this. The boardroom looked like a courtroom, a huge U-shaped table, 15 chairs filled with serious executives, and in the center, like in an arena, one lone chair for Liam. Haley was sitting in the observer seats. Technically she couldn't participate, but she could watch and cheer silently. Victoria was there, of course, sitting to the right of the board president. Wearing a confident smile, Liam walked in, alone, holding only a flash drive. Mr. Carter, the president began, his voice authoritative. Thank you for coming. Let's get straight to the point. The board has voted for the merger with Technova. We need your signature. Liam didn't sit. He stayed standing. He plugged the flash drive into the projector. The presentation appeared on the screen. What is this? Victoria asked, her voice tense. Liam tried to speak. His voice came out rough but audible. The truth. And he pressed play. The next 10 minutes were completely silent as the board watched. The recordings played, Victoria's threats, the blackmail, everything. When it ended, no one moved. Liam tried to speak again. "I will not sign." "Mr. Carter," the president said, his voice tighter now, "you understand this is a scandal?" Liam finished, his voice breaking but firm. "Yes, but true." Victoria stood up. "This is a lie. Those recordings are taken out of context." Liam looked straight at her. "Then provide context." She opened her mouth, closed it. She had no answer. "I sacrificed everything," Liam continued, forcing each word to protect people. "I will not stop now." "You are committing professional suicide," Victoria hissed. Liam almost smiled. "I've heard that before." And then the first disaster happened. Liam tried to say something else, something important, but his voice gave out completely. He coughed, tried again, nothing. The effort of speaking so much had exhausted his vocal cords. Panic crossed his face, and Haley couldn't take it anymore. She stood up. "I'll finish," she said loudly. Every eye turned to her. "Miss Brooks," the president began, "you are not authorized." "I am his assistant," Haley cut in, "and his voice, so I'll speak." She walked to the center of the room, stood beside Liam, looked at the board. "What Mr. Carter is trying to say is simple. You have a choice. Sign an agreement that destroys 800 lives and enriches a few, or do what is right. Find alternatives. Protect the people who build this company every day." "That's naive," someone muttered. "No," Haley replied. "Naive is thinking you can keep sacrificing people without consequences. He has already proven he can protect this company and its employees. You're the ones refusing to try." Silence. "And if you refuse again," Haley continued, "he will go public, with everything, and I will be beside him." Victoria laughed, without humor. "You think anyone will believe a waitress?" "No," Haley said calmly, "but they will believe the recordings, the documents, the 473 employees he saved, and who will testify." The president looked at Liam. "Is this true? Will you go public?" Liam nodded, once, firm. The board erupted in discussion, and in the middle of the chaos, Liam took Haley's hand, held it, firm. She held his back. They had done what they could. Now they had to wait. The second disaster happened as they were leaving. Haley, far too distracted while processing everything, did not see the chair. She tripped, hard. She fell straight into the lap of one of the board members, who was holding coffee, which spilled on everyone. "I am so sorry," Haley shouted, jumping up. Liam was laughing, without sound, but definitely laughing. And even in the middle of absolute chaos, Haley realized something. They had fought together. And no matter what happened afterward, they had won where it truly mattered. 3 weeks after the board meeting, Haley was having a nervous breakdown in a corporate restroom. Not a dramatic breakdown, more like one of those quiet internal collapses where you look at your own reflection and think, "How did I end up here?" "You can do this," she told her reflection in the mirror. "It is just an event with 500 people and cameras and a live broadcast. Totally normal, nothing scary." The mirror, politely, did not point out that she was lying. This is what had happened in the last 3 weeks. The board had voted, 7-8, in favor of Liam. Victoria Hale had been removed, internal investigation in progress, possible criminal case, the merger had been redesigned, 0 layoffs, gradual relocations, benefits package kept, and Liam had gone, overnight, from problem CEO to CEO of the Year in at least 3 business publications, which meant that today exactly, he had to give a public speech. At the annual Carter Tech event, in front of 500 people, investors, the press, and a live broadcast, with a voice that was still coming back. Slowly, in inconsistent waves of hoarse and clear, no safety net, no tablet, just him. And Haley was terrified, not for herself, for him. "You will be fine," she said to the liquid soap. "He will be fine, everyone will be fine. This is what normal people call success and not imminent disaster." The soap remained optimistic but silent. The restroom door opened. Sarah walked in, already wearing the gala dress for the event. "I knew you were hiding in here." "I am not hiding," Haley lied. "I am just practicing breathing." "You have been breathing for 40 minutes? It is an advanced technique." Sarah crossed her arms. "Haley, he needs you out there." "He does not need me," Haley replied. "He has his voice now. He can do it on his own." "Technically, yes," Sarah agreed. "Emotionally, he is having just as big a meltdown as you." Haley looked at her. "Really?" "He adjusted his tie about 15 times, then took it off, then put it on again, and he asked 3 times if you had arrived. Something tightened inside Haley's chest. I cannot make him look bad, she admitted quietly. Today is his day. The day he proves to everyone that he can do this. I cannot ruin it. Haley? Sarah placed her hands on her shoulders. You literally saved him, more than once, including from his own self-sabotage. He does not want to do this without you, so stop hiding in the restroom and go. Haley took a deep breath. Okay, fine, I will go. And Haley? Yes? Please try not to drop anything today. No promises, Haley replied. The hall was crowded, not just a lot of people, more like collective claustrophobia crowded. Haley moved through the crowd, avoiding servers carrying trays because her reputation preceded her, until she found Liam. He was backstage, alone, looking at the curtains that separated him from the stage. Hey, she said softly. He turned, and the relief on his face was unmistakable. You came, he said, his voice still hoarse but working. Of course I came, Haley replied. Did you think I would miss watching you make history? I thought, he began, but his voice caught. He closed his eyes, frustrated. Hey, Haley said, taking his hand. Slow, no rush. Liam breathed. I thought that you would not want to be here, he managed. Today is a lot of pressure. Liam, Haley said firmly. I faced Victoria Hale. I scolded executives. I got on stage when you were sabotaged. Do you really think I would miss the best part? He almost smiled. Are you scared? Terrified, she admitted. But not of you failing. Of me, I do not know. Tripping on stage, dropping the microphone, something very Haley Brooks. You will not, Liam said, his voice a little steadier. You cannot promise that. I can, he insisted. Because even if you trip, it will still be perfect. Haley felt her eyes burn. You cannot say things like that before important events, for it makes me cry and ruins the makeup. Liam laughed, that low, hoarse laugh. And then the tablet, which had been on standby on the table, beeped. Loud, sharp, random. They both looked at the device. It beeped again. You've got to be kidding, Haley said. Now? On the big day? Liam picked up the tablet, turned it off completely. I do not need it anymore, he said simply, and set the tablet on the table. Haley smiled. Okay, Rockstar, let's do this. When Liam stepped onto the stage, the room went completely silent. 500 people, all watching. Haley was in the front row, hands clasped, breath held. Liam reached the microphone, stopped, looked at the crowd, and for 1 second, a terrifying second, nothing happened. He opened his mouth, closed it. Haley saw the panic cross his face, and then he looked straight at her. She nodded. Once, steady. You can do it. Liam took a deep breath and spoke. Good evening. The voice was rough, harsh, but real. The room exploded in applause. Liam waited for it to settle. Continued. Thank you for being here. I know these last months have been difficult. He paused, took a sip of water. Continued. I lost my voice almost 6 months ago, and I thought I would lose everything else too. Total silence now. Everyone focused. But I learned something, he said, his voice growing stronger. Leadership is not about speaking louder. It is about listening better, about having the right people at your side. He stopped, looked directly at Haley. Haley Brooks, he called. Haley froze. Can you come here? What? She whispered to Sarah beside her. Go. Sarah practically pushed her. Haley stood, weak legs, walked up to the stage in slow motion. When she reached him, Liam took her hand, turned to the microphone. This woman, he said, his voice clear now as if having her beside him strengthened every word, saved me. Not just once, not just twice, but every day. Haley felt her face burn. She was my voice when I had none, my courage when I failed, my truth when I hid. The room was completely silent. And today, Liam continued, squeezing her hand, I want everyone to know that anything good I did was only possible because she was at my side. Applause started, slowly, then thundered. Liam turned to her, only to her. Thank you for being my voice when I had none. Haley was crying now, fully, without shame. Idiot, she whispered. You cannot do this to me in public. I can, he answered, smiling. And then he kissed her, right there, on the stage, in front of 500 people. And the room went wild. The first disaster happened as they were leaving the stage. Haley, too emotional and blinded by tears, did not see the step. She tripped. Liam caught her at the last second. I got you, he said, his voice rough but steady. You always do. Haley replied. The second disaster happened at the party afterward. Haley was trying to make a toast, because apparently now she was some kind of corporate celebrity, when she bumped into the table. The champagne tower, because of course there was a tower, wobbled, swayed, and fell, in spectacular slow motion, glass and champagne everywhere. The entire room stopped. Haley froze, hands still in the air. She began. And then Liam started laughing. Not a silent laugh, a real one. Loud, rough, completely genuine, and the whole room joined in. Because if the CEO thought it was funny, it was funny. Sarah appeared beside Haley. You know you are officially a legend here, right? I destroyed a champagne tower, Haley groaned. Exactly, Sarah smiled. Legendary. Later that night, back at home, Haley's tiny apartment that Liam insisted was charming even though it was the size of a closet, they were on the couch. Liam with his tie undone, Haley barefoot, feet on his lap. Today was perfect, he said, tired but happy. You spoke in front of 500 people, Haley said. Your voice is back, officially. And you destroyed the champagne tower, he added. Had to keep up the tradition. Liam laughed, pulled her closer. I love you, he said. Clearly, effortlessly. I love you too, Haley replied, even though you are annoyingly perfect sometimes, and you being disastrously perfect, always. Haley smiled against his chest. We are a strange pair, aren't we? The best pair, Liam corrected. And there, on the tiny couch of a tiny apartment in Chicago with the city glowing outside the window, Haley realized something. She had found her voice too. Not his voice, not a translation, but her own. The voice that defended, that fought, that loved without fear. And finally, she belonged exactly where she was, beside the man who had lost his voice and found hers. 6 months later, at their wedding, Haley knocked over the cake. Liam laughed so hard he almost lost his voice again, and everyone agreed it was the most perfectly imperfect wedding they had ever seen. And now, what did you think of Liam and Haley's journey, from spilled coffee to the altar? Leave your thoughts in the comments. On a scale from 0 to 10, what score would you give this story? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to receive more emotional stories like this. See you next time.